Good afternoon. I'm Professor Dr. Debmalir Sanyal, endocrinologist. Today we'll be discussing the role of early initiation of combined therapy in type 2 diabetes management. So it's very important to have an early good glycemic control with early intervention, as has been shown in the UK PDS that early glycemic control leads to reduced risk of micro and microvascular complications. Microvascular complications like renal damage, like uh, retinopathy risk reduction and neuropathy risk reduction, and macrovascular from cardiovascular outcomes. So patients especially have reduced cardiovascular risk with intensive glycemic control, especially if they are started early on. But it takes a long time for the results to be actually there, and this is because the process of atherosclerosis is a chronic one. The UK PDS actually the first study to show in recently diagnosed type 2 diabetes that there is a legacy effect of early intensive good glycemic control in terms of cardiovascular event rate reduction 10 years after the trial, even though at that point of time nearly there was no difference in HbA1c or glycemic control between those who were controlled intensively versus traditionally. So the beneficial effects of glycemic control on cardiovascular outcomes takes time, whereas the microvascular outcomes with nephropathy, neuropathy, and retinopathy is there early on. There is also real world studies showing evidence of legacy effect of early intensive glycemic control, and it was found that the diabetes and aging study that even after 13 years follow up, those patients who had HbA1c less than 6 during the first year had a lower micro and macrovascular complication. So even having a good glycemic control within the first year of diabetes detection has a significant benefit in terms of both microvascular as well as macrovascular complications. And very important that early use of combination therapy has been shown by various studies as well as meta-analysis to be helpful in terms of likelihood of achieving a good glycemic target, at least HbA1c less than 7, compared to monotherapy with metformin. And especially if we combine drugs with different mechanism of actions which have additive effects on glycemic control, there is also a benefit of reduced dose and reduced side effects at higher dose. So it has been shown specifically that a combination of empagliflozin and SGLT2 inhibitor and linagliptin, a DP4 inhibitor, actually has been found to be beneficial in terms of achieving HbA1c. And that is why, the recent guidelines have also changed to incorporate these evidence. So there are a number of choices with regards to combination therapy, but we need to choose agents which are safe, which do not cause hypoglycemia or weight gain, and probably also agents which have been found to be beneficial in terms of preventing renal impairment as well as improving cardiovascular outcome. In those terms, DP4 inhibitor, metformin, SGLT2, GLP-1 have been found to be safe in terms of hypoglycemia and weight. SGLT2 and GLP-1 decrease weight, though GLP-1 is injectable therapy. And with regards to cardiovascular event reduction and renal uh, impairment reduction, SGLT2 has shown a robust evidence. Similarly, with regards to cardiovascular event, GLP-1 has shown a robust evidence. But GLP-1 is an injectable therapy and may not be acceptable to a lot of our patients. So the ADA-EASD guidelines recommend that if HbA1c is more than 1.5% above the goal, like if the HbA1c is say 9%, where your goal is about is less than 7%, then it is unlikely that a single agent will lead to achievement of your HbA1c target. So then we require a dual combination therapy, and specifically a dual combination therapy of metformin and SGLT2 inhibitors have been found to have a significant benefit in terms of not only glycemic control, but in terms of reducing risk of cardiovascular and renal events as well. Now, if a patient is already on a metformin baseline therapy, then if the HbA1c is more than 1.5, adding a single agent, whether it is DPP4 or SGLT or even a sulfonylurea, again, we are unlikely to achieve good glycemic control. So, combination therapy is again mandated, and a combination of DPP4 and SGLT2 is definitely very sound in terms of scientific background, because one controls the fasting, the other controls the PP. Both don't cause hypoglycemia and weight gain. SGLT2 decreases weight, SGLT2 decreases blood pressure, and SGLT2 inhibitors also have good cardiovascular and renal outcomes. So this combination is a very rational combination as well after metformin, and specifically these reduces the pill burden. And this, as we are all aware, in diabetes, this is chronic disease, and so long-term therapy is mandated, and more is the pill burden, less likely are patients to adhere to the medications. So it is almost 10 times patients are less likely to adhere to treatment if they receive more than one glucose lowering medication. So it makes absolute sense to either use a metformin and SGLT2 or a DPP4 combination, or as at baseline, or as a second line therapy after metformin, a combination of SGLT2 and DPP4, because both do not cause hypoglycemia and have relative safety and efficacy, and also probably long-term benefits as well. So EMPA and LINA combination have complementary mechanism of action. They have pleiotropic benefits across range of patients, especially even in patients with established cardiovascular disease, heart failure, and CKD, and they have also good tolerability. And empagliflozin has been shown to decrease cardiovascular outcome, renal outcomes, and decrease heart failure, whereas linagliptin has been found to be safe in cardiovascular disease, in heart failure, as well as in CKD. So this is a very rational combination, especially after metformin, to achieve the HbA1c goal. So we need to pass the benefit of this combination of EMPA-LINA to reach HbA1c target early on, and this may help also with regards to adherence, and can decrease non-adherence because of multiple medication, and also will address the comorbidities like CKD, atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. So the basic principle of diabetes is a wholesome management of glycemic control and lipids, blood pressure, and aspirin for secondary prevention. Early glycemic control is very important, and for that, combination therapy may be helpful, especially in terms of long-term maintenance. And early combination therapy has a significant effect in terms of adherence and better maintenance of HbA1c. So we need to be more proactive. We need to pass on the benefits of early combination therapy so that the patients are have a good control and can prevent the complications of diabetes. Thank you very much, and hope it was informative. Thank you.